Welcome back to Business Rockstars. Now let's go to Mark Lack.
Joining us right now is Patrick Ambron. He's the CEO and co-founder of Brand Yourself. Pleasure to have you on the show, brother. Tell us about your company.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. So brandyourself.com, simply put, helps people look better online. Now that's generally coming from two angles. One, it helps people deal with unwanted things online, which could be an old divorce record or an ill-advised tweet, as well as helping them actually promote the stuff that they find relevant and accurate about themselves, which is really important when you're looking for, a job or going on sales calls or even going on things like dates.
How did you get in this business?
So when I was in school, my co-founder, Pete, couldn't get an internship. And the reason we figured out why was he shared a name with a criminal everybody thought was him. And this was years ago. This was like 2009. And there was this industry known as online reputation management, which was meant to help situations like this. And there were some big players, but Pete couldn't get a quote for under $25,000. And that's when we realized, okay, the industry...
Which is just a scam. It's so much cheaper than that.
Right. So many things wrong with that. First one being it really caters to either wealthy people or big businesses, obviously not individuals like Pete. Yeah. And number two, to your point, it's also kind of mystifying a process that doesn't necessarily need to be that difficult.
Doesn't cost nearly that much money if you were to just do it yourself.
Right, exactly. So we actually decided when we originally came into the market, we said we'd create kind of a DIY software, very low cost, that helps people manage this process themselves, like using TurboTax instead of paying an accountant. And then it's kind of grown from there as the needs of the market have evolved and things like that.
Take me back to a story where you just felt like things were over, or you felt really down, like you felt like giving up, but you bounced back, and then tell us why.
Yeah, that's a really good, thanks for bringing me back to that. But, I mean, one's directly related to Brand Yourself.
I've been there too, so I'm happy to share my story. But this is about you right now.
A lot of times when we have employees, we do like quarterly meetings and things like that with all the employees, because we have about 80 employees now. And like when you look at, one of the things I always show people coming on is when you look at, our revenue and success, like it kind of looks like you want to see, like it looks like we've grown in a way, but if you zoom out much further, there's actually 3 years in the business, 3 years, a little bit more, where absolutely nothing to show. That line didn't exist.
Here's my question: was it flat or was it going down?
No.
Did you have a burn
There was
rate?
nothing. We had nothing to show for what we were doing. So the dark time, or one of the darker times, an area where had we not gotten through, and we almost didn't, we wouldn't be where we are today, and hopefully, that we, and keep going further. But I graduated school and decided I wanted to do this. What I knew I didn't want to do was, I had a lot of student loans. What I didn't want to do is go get a job. I had been offered a few jobs, just like entry-level jobs. I'd moved down to New York like everyone else, but I just didn't want to do it because I was like, I'm going to get stuck in some sort of, I don't want to be like everyone else. I don't want to get stuck in that because 1 year becomes 5 years, becomes 10 years, and suddenly... that's what I was afraid of happening.
Suddenly you're 50 years old.
Yeah. And
questioning if it's too late to get started.
Right. And I said, I think I can do this. I had no experience, keep in mind, I didn't even know what VC stood for, but I was like, I think we can do this. And what we did was we stayed in Syracuse because I knew we need as much time to help us figure this out as possible. And Syracuse, the area is, so much cheaper than a city like New York or going out west where, our rent was $250 a month. And we can figure out, and we'll get it. And it was exciting at first, but we'd go month after month, over year. We didn't have any experience building a company and making a lot of rookie mistakes. It just, after a while, just nothing to show for it. Yeah. And you'd have your friends being like, "What are you doing?" And you'd have your parents being like, "What are you doing up there?" Like you're now you're a couple of years out. And I remember one of the worst moments is we have nothing to show for it still. And I would ride my bike in Syracuse, which is a very cold area. After, working for no money, trying to get this off the ground, I'd work at a restaurant at night. And it was like a Friday night, and the restaurant closed early. It was just it just wasn't very crowded. So I ride my bike home at 10, and on a Friday night, I'm in my young 20s, and I have nothing else to do. And, you go on Facebook, and you look at the person you were seeing, and they're having, and all your friends, and there's that moment where I remember just feeling it'd be so much easier. Like, why am I doing this? Why don't I just... get out of here. Like, I'm not happy here. I don't have any friends here. It's a miserable climate. It's miserable everything. Everyone's starting to think I'm crazy. I feel like I'm falling behind with my peers, and I'm not even in a position where I should really be doing that because, I didn't, I had loans piling up and things like that. And I was so close. I remember in that exact moment being like, all right, I think it's time to just cut my losses here.
Yeah.
But then there was something else that was, like, if you do it, like if you do that, you know exactly where you're going to be in 10, 15, 20 years. And, I got through that. And then eventually, obviously, not that we're incredibly successful right now, but I'm really glad I got through that time period because I remember just thinking, maybe this isn't worth it. Maybe I made a mistake and I need to, how long should I keep going down this road for?
And so that is powerful right there for people at home who are struggling to think, when is the right time for me to cut the cord? And so I really appreciate you for sharing that. And I think people are going to love to peel back the layers on your company when we get right back with Patrick Ambron in the house.
You're watching Business Rockstars. Thanks so much for joining us. Now let's go to Mark Lack.
Joining us right now is Patrick Ambron. He's the CEO and co-founder of Brand Yourself. Tell us about your company again, brother. Recap for us.
So simply put, Brand Yourself helps people look better online. So that's dealing with dangerous items like poorly judged tweets or Facebook statuses or bad press, as well as helping them promote positive, relevant things.
Well, you just told us an awesome story about how you came through a season of adversity in your life when you were trying to get your business up off the ground. And we cut to a little break there, but we're back now, and you had something that you wanted to add on to it. Take it away, brother. What is that?
Yeah, the question that a lot of people ask is why were you able to get through that, and what made you stay motivated? And I realized I think part of it too was having a background where I grew up. I grew up in a town called Fishkill, New York, which is, I don't know.
Fishkill.
Fishkill. Kill is Dutch for creek.
Okay.
It's right around Poughkeepsie area, a big IBM town, and most of the town was employed by IBM. And, in the 90s going in, everyone lost their jobs. And it was very difficult for most of the town. And I remember thinking, even when I was a kid, that, I don't ever want to be in a position where, I could work for someone for 20 years and then suddenly, there's nothing I can do. And then you're at a point in your life where you're no longer in the driver's seat and you get in this place where, like, what are your options? So I think part of it deep down too is knowing that I wanted to give myself a chance to never have to be in that position.
You've obviously had some aha moments in your life, some light bulb moments, some pivoting turnaround moments where you're just like, wow, took that much pain, that much failure, that many mistakes to figure this out. What's one of those aha moments?
So the first was just the idea that kind of what I came to is you want to do something on your own, no such thing as job security, and the longer you wait, like, that learning curve is going to exist, you might as well do it now. That was number one. So that was enough to make me take the plunge and get me through some of those.